The Vlogcast may occasionally contain explicit content that makes it not safe for work or for minors. It also doesn't provide an excuse to use the same words on Bay 13. Normal Big Footy rules still apply.
Alright, so this is the Vlogcast for round 10. The emotionally checked out Tiger Starburns is here, and I'm joined by the Andrew Mackey of podcast from St Kilda Cookson.
Hashtag I stand by Dan.
The White Knight of Redheads Everywhere from North, Dan.
Yes, hello. Very happy to be here with this great united team that is the Bay 13 podcast. We are all one. We're in this together through the good and the bad. We don't eat our own, and we're here for your enjoyment. So please show your appreciation and like the thread.
I love your team first attitude, Dan.
Thank you. It's who I am. Team first.
Best clubman award goes to Dan.
Yes, of course.
And you just heard her there. Our next contributor is from Collingwood, the suburban netballer, Morgan Ashley.
Hi, guys. It's a pleasure to be here with my team. All about team.
And finally joining us, all teams need a leader, and why not the leader of Bay 13's badge gang from West Coast, Wooshette?
Hey everyone, I'm on Team Autism.
Goo or tears? What do we have?
Oh my god, I've got so much goo, but I'm not going first because it'll drown everyone.
We could probably do it being drowned at the moment.
Yeah, a few people here could do with the dream.
Geez, that team first attitude lasted a while, didn't it?
No, it didn't last long, did it?
No, it's a bit like all of our resolutions so far this year. Morgs was going to be positive, and I was going to make sure the episodes went shorter and finished earlier.
What was mine? I forget.
I don't know, but Starburns flunked his because it went for 2 fucking days.
And we all flunked the Be Nice to Dan one this year too. Don't pick on Dan.
It's all right. Now that we've got leading teams in, we'll all be okay.
The home truths have been told already, so now we're ready. Onward and upward.
Oh, I'm going to have goo. Our ears will be saved as poor Roos inevitably comes to St Kilda. It'll be phenomenal. We'll have Brucey, Huey, 50 fucking Jackies, some other random person starting with Y. It'll be
Lukey,
phenomenal.
Dunstan, Jakey.
Oh, Lukey, Jakey.
What? I wonder what you're going to pay him with.
That's
St Kilda don't live within their means, Dan.
Money.
They're gonna...
Sweet AFL dollars.
Going to pay him with hope and optimism, because I don't think the poorest club in the AFL can afford someone of Paul Roos's stature and
price tag.
Mercenaries do not come cheap.
Well, if we get
but they also come. They also come free with the AFL.
And
why
the
are the
Communist
AFL
Party
going
of China.
to help St Kilda?
Because we're going to help out the Chinese. We're going on a Chinese holiday next year. It'll be phenomenal. St Kilda, China, what could possibly go wrong?
Chinese people are a little bit shorter than us, aren't they? Not to stereotype, but...
A little bit. There may or may not be a massive fire in Shanghai, but teething issues. This is why we have leading teams.
Chinese schoolgirls everywhere need to be warned.
Sam Gilbert's coming to town.
Cookie or cry if Sam Gilbert still plays.
I know, that's why I threw it out there. I was like, he better not be on the fucking list.
He's the worst. He's going to be the worst 200 gamer of all time.
Anthony Rocker says hi.
Anthony Rocker was good, or at least half decent.
What about Anthony Rocker?
You're a buffoon, cooks dogs.
Rocker, same shit. But still good for all our ears.
I've got goo for being the first person to like Jordan De Goey.
I know, a lot of St Kilda supporters liked him. He will look phenomenal next season.
Yeah, he will, because he'll still be playing.
How are you going to pay him?
Peanuts, dogs, Sutner.
Geordie.
Shanghai hookers.
No, I don't think Geordie's into the Asian persuasion. I've also got goo for the royal wedding and the preacher at the royal wedding, who was an absolute highlight.
That was hilarious. All the royal family were all trying not to giggle. And did you see Elton John's face?
Yeah. See, I think this is once again proof that Meghan Markle is an incredible actress because she didn't laugh the whole time.
Yep.
Did anyone catch the still image of fucking Queen Lizzie giving her daggers?
Yeah.
Yep. I enjoyed the wedding. I thought it was good. I thought it was like funny. There was just some really funny shit in it. Like the preacher was hilarious. He went from everything from the black. I thought the black slavery. That was just hilarious. What a setting for it too, you know. Like the Poms, they started the whole slavery thing. You know, they're the ones that started bringing all the slaves over. So,
But
yeah,
the slaves chose to go.
Yeah, it was a choice.
You know,
Slavery's a choice. I don't know why everyone's complaining. I know that because Kanye told me.
Well, I did want to pivot back to your Paul Roos thing, Cookson. How do you know he's coming to St Kilda?
He referred to St Kilda on a Foxtel broadcast as we.
The telltale sign. Rosie loves to call it we.
Unless you shit, then it's them.
I'm just glad he stopped calling Sydney we.
Remember the time when Melbourne were really bad there and he kept referring to them as them?
Them,
or they?
yep.
Rosie refers to you as we as long as it's suitable for Rosie to refer to you as we.
Yeah, and as soon as it's not, he pulls a Dan.
And takes no accountability.
No responsibility for that. That was all them. Dan, what's your goo or tears?
Oh, what did I have goo or tears for? Well, this is tears, I suppose, but we had another, is it blue or gold dress moment when we had that stupid Laurel Yanny fucking sound thing from a week ago. We might as well ask the people here, who heard Yanny on the sound thing?
Nope.
I've only heard Laurel, but I've only listened to it once.
I only heard Laurel, and I've heard it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, Laurel. I was in a room,
Laurel.
There was myself, my husband, my daughter, and her boyfriend, and I played it because I hadn't listened to it before. My daughter said, come on, try it, Mum. So we tried it with all 4 of us in the room. Me and Hudson heard Laurel, and Steve and Lizzie heard Yanny.
It's time to put them down. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You people that heard Yanny, you people need to get your ears fixed. I don't know how an owl can sound like a Y. I've heard it a few times in different like tones, high pitched and low pitched. I hear Laurel every single time.
Dapper John sent me a video to watch, and he's like, "You'll be able to hear both in this." So I was like, "No, I can still only hear Laurel."
That's all I've heard. But they swore, the other 2 swore they could hear Yanny.
I'll go next. I feel I've been firing blanks in goo or tears in the last few weeks. I haven't really had anything good, and I don't really have a whole lot this week, but I will say I will have tears for the taste of Jack Darling's shit, to paraphrase Bender's thread, because the title of that thread was exactly how it felt watching that game. Sometimes you get beaten by...
Who was playing on him?
Rance.
There was a swap at some point. He did kick about 3 or 4 on Rancy, yeah. Wasn't a good day for him, but sometimes you get beaten by playing poorly, sometimes you get beaten by, you know, a better side or a better game plan or something. But when a player takes hold like that, it's just like, fuck. But he's been doing it most of the year, so...
He's been doing it all year.
He was like Buddy round 1 with us with his 8 goals. We just couldn't stop him. There was nothing we could do.
Sometimes it's made easier by the way things are going up the ground, but at the same time, there were ones that he did not drop him. Like, he's always been a physical beast, but he always had that free kick staging or the squibbery or that sort of shit. That's gone from his game now. So all of a sudden, he's built like Tarzan, playing like Tarzan this year, as opposed to perhaps in the past. I don't know. That's my tears. Can't come up with much better.
And the blanks continue. Good job.
I know. Well, I knew it was one when I said it anyway, you dickhead.
4 years of blanks.
4 years of blanks. Don't you start on goo and tears, Dan. I do like that you're having a shot at me, though, and not Cookson.
I admit that I'm shit at this segment. I admit that I'm shit at this segment.
Didn't I do that before?
You expected to ace this. This is your podcast.
I aced the intros this week, by the way, Dan. Did you notice that?
How about some accountability, Starburns? Yeah.
Did you notice me ace the intros this week?
No. Because I don't expect it.
Convenient. Well, then if you don't expect it, you should have been shocked.
leading teams will be disappointed in you, Dan.
Dan, please, can we save this for afterwards, where we critique each other?
Yeah, the leading teams.
I've written down every fuck up you've had so far.
Leading teams is your off-field stuff. We are on-field. It is match time. No time for Goddard finger pointing.
You are a bit like Goddard, aren't you? Yeah. Similarities.
Who's next? Who hasn't gone?
Well, you pretty much what you said was my goo, so I'll go another goo. What about the lady that grabbed Bevo on the way down from the coach's box to get a selfie with him? Did you guys see that?
Yes, I did.
That was hilarious. She jumped on him as he's coming down from the coach's box, and all the cameras are on him, so he couldn't really say no. So he had to turn around and have a selfie with this woman, and his face was like stone.
At least he agreed to it. Like, could you imagine if that was Ross Lyon? He might have either thrown the elbow, or since she was a woman, he might have like sexually harassed her.
Anyway, I thought she had some balls doing that because they
showed some balls.
His face was like. Yeah, he wasn't very happy, but she just sort of, hey, come here, have a selfie. And he was like, he did it anyway. Kudos to him for doing it, but pretty lame goo. Oh, well, I thought it was funny.
No, it was better than Starburns.
Yeah, it was better than that.
And my tears are for Jack Darling. Where the fuck has he been? Where has this Jack Darling been? Why haven't we had this Jack Darling before? And why has this Jack Darling never turned up for finals?
Yeah, but I kind of like the shit Jack Darling, the one that drops easy marks and stuff. I mean, that one's more fun. It's kind of like Jack Watts playing a good game. That's no fun.
Hey, there's still finals to go.
I've got more goo. I've got more goo for the AFL Inside Info Facebook page, who put up a post of another stellar performance from the greatest defender of all time, conceding 6 goals and 15 marks to Jack Darling. What a champion, is up to 37 goals against in 9 rounds. What a star.
37, bullshit.
37 goals against.
Fuck, we barely conceded that many in the first fucking 9 rounds. What a wank.
Starburns, please. 37 goals against him.
Yeah, no, that's a lie. That page can have a liar of the year nom.
Oh, I've got another goo. When I went and looked at the ladder, Melbourne are on 3rd. When did that happen? I thought they might have
beat
snuck
up on
into
Carlton.
the 8th. They're on fucking 3rd. When and how did that happen?
Oh, there's still 12 more weeks for them to fuck it up, or at least 12 more games.
Have I missed something though? How did they get to 3rd? Who did they beat to get to 3rd?
The
I know
8th very even,
Carlton,
and when you win by 100+ points, your percentage tends to go up.
Yeah, but who else have they beaten?
Oh, they've beaten Gold Coast. They've beaten Carlton.
They beat the might of North Melbourne. They ended the streak.
They beat St Kilda. They beat Essendon. They've literally had the easiest draw of all time.
Yeah, they're the bottom 8
Brisbane
from last year.
Which means they've actually beaten all the shitter teams. So it's like, where's this embarrassing loss that we expect from them going to come from now? Who's left? The Dogs?
Well, it's about fucking time they had an embarrassing loss on the Queen's birthday weekend.
That's not an embarrassing loss unless you fucking cane them.
Why is it not an embarrassing loss?
Because you're
They're
not
supposed
shit.
to be top 8 team. Oh, aren't we? How delightful.
They're a top 4 team. Top 3 team.
And there's no fucking point being a top 3 team in May. Get back to me in September when you're sending out finals information again. Fucking frauds. Frauds. Isn't there like one game separating a million teams at the moment?
A million.
Yeah.
You were going to write that one down.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams are separated by one game.
99,999. Oh, a million.
But Dan, this is why you're autistic.
Come on, now attack me, even though he said it.
This is why the government won't let you have nice things, Dan.
You just broke the pack, Cookson. You're off the team.
See?
You left an open goal, Dan. You were complaining about a million people.
No.
Hey, I'm not fucking team membering this shit. You give me a shot at goal, I take that.
No, not at the expense of your teammates. That's just wrong.
Dan, is it love for your teammates ripping shit on them? Is that what true teamwork is?
No.
Who hasn't gone? Fucking hell. What a mess.
No, everyone's gone.
Everyone's
I
gone?
don't know.
Thank God.
Yes.
My goo was pretty lame. I don't know. Is there any other goo?
No.
Give me
No
some
more.
goo. Give me some feed me some goo.
Dan, can you oblige?
No, I'm not saying anything. Everything I say is just gets shitted on.
The only goo I've got is for Eagles, and Starburns pretty much said it all anyway. So
Starburns' version of it was shit.
Oh, God.
Little dwarf from Munchkinland. Hurry up and get Dorothy to see the Wizard of Oz.
Stop. Keep drinking those thermometers, Dan. And getting them vaccinations. Let's go to Richmond West Coast as our first game. What? What? Are you not? Are you
Shut
finished?
up, Dan.
Are you finished yet?
We're off to see the Wizard. What game we talking about?
Richmond West Coast. Pay attention.
Oh yeah. What happened? What happened?
I
told you last week you guys were cooked.
We're not
You didn't
cooked. We ran into literally the only other good team in the comp at the moment.
No, you're cooked. You're cooked. And where's the Messiah? Where's Trent? Where is he?
Trent wasn't that bad compared
Gone
to fucking
missing
Dusty
again.
and Rance.
Let's Google Trent and see what he's had on the week. Let's have a look.
It's about the eye test. Look, I will say this.
There's the eye test.
14 disposals. 14. Where was he?
14 disposals.
Anyway, what I did want to say about this game is it's finally happened. It's taken 9 weeks, but someone's actually turned up with a game plan to try and beat us. A couple of teams have tried to beat us playing our style, and that's never going to work. But West Coast came in with a distinct plan of kicking game.
It's an average good team.
Shut up, you autistic cunt.
I was saying, you guys are cooked. I said it last week. And
correlation is not causation, Dan.
I even saw signs of it in the North game. You guys were cooked.
We're not cooked. We're just casually plodding along at the moment, and yet we're still able to beat half the competition.
The sauce just starting to get charcoal. I mean, it's just barely edible. If
we're so cooked, how the fuck did we beat you?
We need to put a fork through Richmond. You're finished.
You're an idiot.
You barely won again.
Oh, shut up, Dan. We're having real discussions here, not autistic ones. Somebody else
say
Dan,
something. The adults are talking.
Yes.
Anyway.
Me giving you my 2 cents worth on Richmond is autistic talk, is it?
Yes. Well, when you go cooked, which is exactly what you tried to say last week. Yes, that's exactly flogging the dead horse.
But it's true though. I said you were cooked, and we're not cooked. Performed accordingly.
Fucking idiot.
It's not my fault that you guys are finished.
You're an idiot, Dan. Somebody else say something.
I'm going to tip St Kilda at the end of the podcast too.
That's good because it's your turn.
Well, I have to say
clearly it's not.
It's your turn, Dan, but we'll come to it later.
I have to say that's the best I've seen the Eagles play for. I honestly can't even remember when.
Since the drug years?
10 years, I don't know.
They were great.
They were fantastic.
Well, but I thought we're cooked, Dan.
Yeah, you are cooked. Shut up, Starburns.
We just couldn't do anything wrong. Like, our marks stuck, our tackles all resulted in, free kicks. Our goals went through. It was just one of those days. And the way our new players like Waterman and Rioli and, just unbelievable. They've slotted in like they've always. They're like 5-year players. You know what I mean? They've just slotted perfectly into the team.
They look like
just the whole.
What are you mumbling back there?
I don't know. All I can hear is somebody.
They absolutely shitted on Richmond.
They did. We did.
Yeah.
It was just beautiful to watch. I didn't even know who I was watching. I was like, who the fuck is this team and where have they been?
I know. They've been exposed, finally.
Oh, fucking hell.
Anyway, it was an absolute joy to watch. Well, it's the best I've seen this team under Simo ever play, I think. But we've been playing well all year, but it really, this week, the best of everyone all came out at the same time. And, yeah.
Yep.
There was no way we were going to let Richmond win. We had you guys covered completely.
Yeah.
And Yo was just amazing. I don't know.
That was amazing.
It looked like his ankle and then it was his knee, and I don't know what's going to happen there. But he came back on and absolutely, shredded Dusty.
Because he's a star. He's a superstar.
Yeah. He's a fucking great get from Brisbane, I can tell you. So, And Redden's really stepped up. Another one from Brisbane, Redden.
Can I just go on to something that I caught a snippet of before we came on here? And it's just rumour, but Gary Lyon was saying on the couch that Elliot Yeo was prepared to stay at Brisbane for $250,000 a year, but they would not go over $225,000.
Yep, $25,000.
Let's let that sink in for a second. Brisbane were not prepared to give him $25,000 extra around about the time they were a bottom 3 side, which they.
So who were they giving that money to?
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Brown, probably.
Jonathan Brown was still there, but who the fuck else?
Favola?
Dane Beams.
Beams wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
That's farcical.
We're talking Rich. We're talking like Riscatelli had gone by then. Yeah, and Zorko hadn't really come on yet.
And that's worse than the Betts deal with North.
Yeah,
that's insane. That's true.
Not really.
Worse than Diesel Williams.
But who knows? Like, if he had stayed at Brisbane, he'd probably be a shit truck.
Well, it could have, would have sort of talk. All we know is that he's a star and he shitted on Richmond just like his teammates did.
He fucking shitted on Dusty, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know.
Dusty's been off the boil for about a month now, though.
Dusty's been really lazy this year.
Dusty looks cooked, doesn't he?
Yeah, cool. He looks like a man who's achieved everything and now he's just...
And he's content with himself and he's just ready to just...
He's got the Bontempellis about him, to be honest.
Yeah, a little bit.
He's got his Brownlow, he's got his Norm, he's got his premiership, he's just happy to turn up.
All he wants to do now is play with Swanee on the weekends.
That's it.
Yep. Give me my paycheck and I'm happy.
No, he's been a bit out of touch, and I think we haven't used him that well in recent weeks with the forward line struggling. Look, as West Coast were very good. They played well. They had a game plan ready to go. They worked hard, and I think the fact that we've been carrying about 2 or 3 passengers for most of the year who probably only there because they played in the premiership side and 1 or 2 of them beat up on Carlton and Brisbane.
Like Lambert and Grigg and Castagna.
They're not even the name Curvis. You fucking kidding me? You're an idiot.
He's great, isn't he?
Yeah, he is actually, Dan.
But he looks a bit cooked, and the rest of the team does.
If you say cooked again, that's the vest.
They looked a bit charred.
a bit grilled.
They looked like grilled.
We've had a good team for a few years, but our problem has been intensity. We've looked like what Dusty looks like now. We've looked like a team that just turns up. They have a bit of a go, but they're not willing to put that whole 100% in. You know what I mean? And this year, you could see it from round 1. We were just a different team. We're hard. We're contesting everything.
And you showed that
direct. Oh, did we ever?
But
it was just amazing to watch. We grilled them, absolutely. I give a lot of credit. There's my goo, Sammy Mitchell again. I've gooed him again. I've gooed him before, I'm going to goo him again. I give him a lot of credit for the way we're playing and our hardness, our discipline, our attitude, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I think he's been a fantastic get for us, and we're just a different team. We're just playing like Richmond played last year, like a desperate team who really, really want to win a premiership. And that's been lacking from the Eagles for a few years.
Anyway, what I was going to say is, we've had a few passengers that finally might get cut. They might reset, have a look at where we're at, because we've been cruising past
some
average.
So who are your passengers?
Townsend and Butler are the first 2 that come to mind.
Oh, I thought they were A-grade.
Jack Graham hasn't been particular. No one said they're A-grade as your fucking mong.
I think you and that moron Richo at the disco were trying to say it's not A-grade.
47 A graders, that's what they said to us. 47 A graders.
Stop doing a Dan, making up shit. Townsend was the guy, if we recall, last year when he kicked the 7 or 6 against Freo, that when I saw he was playing, I asked, what the fuck's that guy playing for? But no, there's a couple of them that they're there for their pressure, and if they're not applying their pressure, which they clearly haven't been up to scratch with, then they're not giving much because they don't do much with the ball in hand.
Well, why aren't they doing that?
Because they reached the top of the mountain. And
Because
it's really,
that's right.
and it's really hard to want to get there again.
They're burned out, Starburns. It's just the way it is. I'm
shut
sorry.
up, Dan.
It's not my fault.
See, we're 36 minutes into this thing because Dan doesn't shut up.
Well, this is a podcast. Am I not supposed to speak?
You're meant to say your thing once.
Should I just be mute for the rest of the time? I won't say anything for the next 2 hours.
You won't be able to do that.
Don't crack the shits, Dan.
We'll start talking about St Kilda, and then you'll bring up how that they're not, or we'll bring up Carlton, and then you'll say, yeah, but they're not as cooked as Richmond, and then we'll be off again.
You're probably right. No, but I can't be censored. I have to speak freely. Surely.
I can't be censored.
I am not an animal.
Because I was being an animal for my actions.
Starburns, do you agree they look like a team that's achieved and is just happy to, turn up and get the job done?
Maybe it's better if you ask him, because he gets to ask him.
Shut up, Dan.
But as funny as this all is, let's not pretend that they're not second on the ladder.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like they're
exactly. This is what I'm saying. This is the loss we probably needed to have because it's been autopilot for a little bit.
That's what I want to ask you. Do you think they'll come back after the bye with a reset, like a new mindset, and like go 100% for what they are? Because to me, they're still the best team. We had a fucking unbelievable day. We had one of those days where everything we did turned to gold.
No, shut up, Dan.
Don't sell yourself too short. You guys were fantastic, and Richmond
we were.
Where's this button?
We were fucking unbelievably fantastic.
You were, yes.
I agree totally, but in my opinion, Richmond is still the better team, and I'm asking Starburns if he thinks they'll come back after the bye.
Maybe
with that passion and hardness.
Oh, it's questionable. Who knows?
She's not asking you.
Okay, sorry.
Fuck. Yeah, no. For all the shit, I feel that, yeah, you're right. Every West Coast played one of those games out of the box, similar to what St Kilda did to us last year, but I think with West Coast it's actually sustainable. But as I said, most importantly, they came with a game plan that could beat ours.
Yeah.
And now we have to go away and find a way to combat that. Obviously, not playing the extra tall against West Coast with McGovern down there hurt. And they're going to have to think. They're going to have to think long and hard about that, whether that can be allowed to happen again. But no, the wheels aren't off. The pressure's been close, but not quite where it needs to be, and it's minor kinks. Like Yaz Morgs said, we're still 7-2, and we'll play St Kilda and Essendon in the coming weeks.
But Dan could be right. He did say you were going to lose the next how many?
6.
6. Well, he's a fifth. He's a sixth of the way there. Like 5 more.
Who are you playing next week?
St Kilda, then Essendon, then we got the Puffers away, then we got Geelong at the MCG where they're scared.
Okay, so pretty easy 4 weeks.
You'd think so.
Well,
as long as their heads are screwed on, you'd think so. That said, eventually St Kilda are going to click with their kicking and ball use, but I'm not sure it'll be enough. But we'll see.
It ain't happening this week.
By the time they do click with their skills, their motivation and their determination will be gone.
What's going to happen first, their skills or Nathan Freeman playing again?
No, their skills. Nathan Freeman got injured again on the weekend.
Yes, Steve Morris
will play. It's a minor injury. He'll be in, I don't know, but he will play this year to give us hope. When he kicks a triumphant 20 goals, I still believe.
You know that he can't kick, yeah?
Oh, he can't kick. That makes him better than half our fucking team as it is.
We've got Hawthorn, St Kilda, Sydney and Essendon. So, yeah, there could be some sorting out. Yeah, I reckon you'll end up on top.
Oh, no, I'm not sold on that because West Coast's winning enough games away from home and you'd think that they'll roll plenty of teams at Disco Stadium from here.
Well, our next 5 are the Bulldogs, Fremantle at home, Melbourne, Carlton and Gold Coast.
Yeah, that's right, because you were meant to have a pretty shitty start to the season, and all of a sudden you're sitting
we had
okay.
a really bad start to the season where we played like heaps of teams that were in the 8 and like fucking the Premiers and Adelaide at home, and still managed to eke out 5 wins. So now we've got 5 easy games.
It helps that Essendon are completely shit, unless of course you're Geelong. Let's go to that. Geelong are completely head-fucked by the MCG.
They got destroyed. I mean, they could not get it out of their own back half. I mean, Selwood was useless. Dangerfield was practically useless.
Did Ablett have a pretty average game?
Well, Ablett's in the worst player of the week poll, so make of that what you will. He got multiple nominations.
He had a good first quarter, but then it just went to shit.
Did he get those nominations on Saturday, or did he get them? Because I haven't seen a Hawthorn supporter since.
He got one from Moffra today, and he got one from the other one might have been a Hawks poster on Saturday, yes.
Ah, amazing. I'm really worried about them, by the way.
There's a bit of that going around. The Geelong supporters went missing for a while until Sunday afternoon.
They obviously got the memo it was safe to come back out from underneath the bed.
Yeah. Hawthorn have lost, and so have Richmond. It's okay.
We can come out now.
That's one of the things. If you want to have a bad loss...
You got to time it right.
You don't want it to be Friday because everybody sees it, but you want it to be on the Saturday and hope that something comes afterwards that will get everyone talking.
I didn't watch this game at all, but how you could let that rabble beat you like that, I've got no idea.
Look, it's funny because it's a Geelong loss at the MCG and they're 9th at the moment, but it's also funny because the Essendon supporters are just, this will be the game when they're still shit later in the year. They'll keep looking back at it and going, why can't we do that? It's that game that's going to torture them all year long. So I think it's a bit of a...
Signs were ominous early on when they let that potato McKernan kick 3 goals in the first quarter.
No, but it was Corey playing.
It was Corey McKernan.
No, he played like Corey, but Sean's a potato. And I thought Geelong were going to click into gear, but it never happened.
Did you see
he played like Corey? Did he get suspended?
Did you see Woosh's press conference after the game?
Yeah, he was happy, wasn't he?
His face looked like a fish's ass, did it? As tight as.
Yeah, he's a bit prickly, isn't he?
Yeah, but that's how
he's not a very friendly chemist, is he?
Like
he's got a very cold, sinister sort of look about him.
You go to him with your prescription and he just gruffly hands you the bag over the counter.
Yeah, he'll give you the drugs, but he won't smile while he's giving
He's not giving you any codeine over the counter. You can guarantee that.
I need service with a smile, and he's not giving that to me.
I think it was pretty funny how they made Neil the scapegoat.
I know, and then when it pays off, it makes them look like geniuses. But fucking hell,
it's not sustainable. They'll come back to earth.
Yeah, they will. Absolutely, they will.
This happens all the time. You get the circuit breaker, blah 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 blah. The pressure comes off. You still shit.
Look at Carlton. They got the circuit breaker against Essendon, and back to shite this week. Do we have much else out of Geelong versus Essendon?
Apparently, Geelong made Stringer look good.
You'd have to be concerned if you were Geelong. Like, they've lost some bad games this year.
Well, that's what happens when you put all your faith in mercenaries. You know, you bring in all these big-name players and it doesn't work. You've got to develop what you got. I had this conversation on the Eagles board, people saying, you know, if we could get Fife, and I don't want Fife. You know, I want to develop what we've
You don't want Fife.
You don't want Fife.
Come on. Fife. Why would I want Fife?
He's still in his prime.
Come on, you're being a bit silly now.
All right, name me a team that's brought in a big fucking superstar player
Hawthorn
for another club and it's won and Premier. Who?
Hawthorn brought in Burgoyne and Gibson and Brian Lake.
Collingwood brought in Jolly and Ball.
It works if it's the right player and they're very good.
North Melbourne brought in Jed Anderson.
None of them are sorry, but none of them are superstars. I'm talking superstars. I'm talking like Sydney taking Buddy, who fucked them over when they needed him the most for finals. He went on his little drug binge. They could have won the premiership that year. I'm talking about Geelong bringing in the holy fucking Trinity. What good has that done them? What good did Judd do Carlton?
Well, Carlton were a basket case to begin with.
Carlton were a
the
basket
supporters
case.
go fucking nuts when you bring in these big name players. You know, they think premierships are going to start growing on trees. The best teams develop.
You can't think that way. You got to think whether this guy's going to help the team or not.
Whoosh, when you think
How
about
does
it,
Fife
Fife
in your
help
team
us?
would help.
Fife would be endlessly beneficial to your side. It would make you less reliant on Nick Natanui.
Yeah.
No, I do not want.
But he currently wears purple, so she can't see that.
Yeah, and the other thing about Gary Ablett being brought in by Geelong, the price they paid for him was fucking Stephen Motlop.
I don't understand this mindset. I don't know how supporters think that just, let's go get this big superstar. Let's pay him $1.5 million for 10 years. Because I mean, you'd have to pay something like that.
Well,
to
some
get
of it
what does it
is
do?
also other things are considered as well when you get a player of his caliber, because you
what's the
draw
satisfaction?
more sponsorship and more members to your club.
They don't need that.
They don't need that.
So
Good clubs
what
don't care
happens?
about
We
that.
bring-
That's only for
alright,
North
so
and St Kilda.
Suddenly we bring Fife over, right? Here's the difference. We win a premiership. Where's the satisfaction?
The satisfaction of being that you've crippled your neighbour.
Well, that would be the melts and the tears would be the only fucking reason I'd do it.
Like, you're basically taking the greatest
with
player
people
they've had.
all the
Like,
time.
with no disrespect to Pavlich, but yeah.
No.
No, but that's not the point. Like, if you can assemble the team, and Fife would fill a need at your club, like, it's not Dangerfield or Ablett that have fucked Geelong over. It's the fact that all these other draft picks they've had, it's the Henderson trade that's fucked them. It's the Tui trade that's fucked them. It's
Goddard.
Stanley for pick 21, yes, because Hugh Goddard, he's in the St Kilda leadership group. Like, they could do with some backline leadership. Then, it's those trades for all those picks and the other picks they've had fucking those up on players like Billy Smets. Like, it's Stephen Wells is not.
It's more than that.
He's not the Messiah.
Energy.
I don't understand how they reckon they've got the Geelong footy factory, yet they have to go everywhere else to find their players.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like,
factory.
Amazingly, they've done all right with Menegola and
Japan.
Kelly at low end. Like, Stephen Wells is really good at identifying the poorly valued talent that's above its ceiling, but he can't get it right at the top end. And the funny thing was, Geelong did really well with that when they were building, like, Stevie J wasn't a high pick. Who else wasn't a high pick? Like, I think it was only Mackie and Joel Selwood who were top 10. Of that list.
Bartel was close to top 10.
Bartel was fairly high, but they built a list. Like, Chapman was a low pick, Corian Wright was a low pick.
They built a team.
I know, but they did this with the low picks. When they get high picks, they fuck it up. Plus, Ottens was a mercenary anyway, and they won 3 flags with him.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of it. That's when you get real play. Who would have thought? Look at all the spuds that have suddenly turned into bloody A-listed players on our team. There's far more satisfaction in seeing that. It's like
I
you
don't
guys
know.
are saying
We got Jordan De Goey at picks 5 or whatever it was, and that's fucking delicious to me. Delicious.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about mercenaries. I have this argument with people all the time. I don't know.
De Goey could be a mercenary at the end of the year. We'll see.
I hope so.
It's not about chasing the players. It's making sure that you actually, when you chase those players, that the list you already have there, that player is going to put you over the top.
It shouldn't be about what the name is. You take that out of the equation. Like, when we got those 2 players that helped us win the premiership, they were the kind of players we needed. We needed an in and under mid who was tough, and we needed a ruckman. It shouldn't have mattered who they were. Take that out of the equation.
Whoosh, if you traded 2 years worth of first rounders for Nat Fife, you would rock it to fucking very hard to beat.
I'd be devastated. I would be devastated.
You might fuck those draft picks up, but have a list right now with Kennedy still there, Nat Nui around, fucking Hearn still there.
And the whole fucking team and the whole world would revolve around Nat Fife, the superstar. No thanks.
Yeah, and you'd probably win multiple flags.
Yeah, and I wouldn't
such
like
a shame.
any of them. I wouldn't fucking even watch the grand final.
Oh, purple got, yeah, okay, Morgs, you picked it.
I wouldn't even fucking watch it.
She wouldn't even open the blinds if they were playing in the front yard.
See, this is the sort of shit I'd expect from a Freo fan or one of the West Horsham clubs. I thought West Coast were above this.
You're not fucking listening to me. I would do if you.
No, well, I'm reading between the lines.
You fucking offered
It's starting
me.
to sound like me now.
All right, let's forget about Nat Fife.
That's good self-awareness, Dan.
Let's forget about Nat Fife. Let's change it to Dusty. Would I take Dusty tomorrow? No, I wouldn't. Would I take Buddy?
You're crazy.
No, this isn't a.
You wouldn't take the
Fremantle,
competition's best midfielder.
Even though I you know how I feel about them. But this isn't a Fremantle thing. This is a. It's a.
Who would you take?
No
Who
one.
would I take? Well, look, I loved Sammy Mitchell. All right, Sammy Mitchell was
The
a
one that
big
came.
name.
But what's the difference between him and a guy like Fife or Martin?
If you let me fucking finish my sentence, I'll tell you.
All right, sorry.
So, Mitchell,
Now I know how I sound. Okay. I'm slowly catching on.
it's
This
all
leading
right.
teams thing is really working.
I know it's hard when you're autistic, but listening. What I
You
was
can't
going to say
redeem
was,
yourself with autism joke. You got to explain why you wouldn't take Fife or Martin to your club. So go on.
right. At first, when we drafted Sammy Mitchell, I was not happy. I
You
didn't
traded
want-
him for pick 88.
I know that, but he's a fucking hawk, right? So he's not one of us. So I
Neither's
thought, why are
Elliot
we
Yeo.
bringing him over?
No, there's
we
Josh
bringing-
Kennedy. Give him back.
Carlton, please. Carlton
No, but
would love
Josh
him.
Kennedy was a nobody then. We developed him. We made him.
He
He
was
was
a
a
number
fucking
four
David
draft
nobody.
Warapunda is from Hillsville. We want him back.
Same as Yo. Yo was a nobody when we took him. His club fucking threw him away for $25,000. You know, like, for fuck's sake, it's completely different. Anyway, when
If you drafted purely from WA, your team would be
no,
shit.
I'm not saying I don't want to draft purely from WA.
That's what it sounds like.
Well, it's not.
All
It's
right.
not. Anyway, I can't. You're not letting me finish with Sammy.
I'm sorry.
The difference
Sorry.
with Sammy was at first I wasn't happy because I thought, oh, what are we doing? We're trying to fill a gap with an experienced player and this, you know. But I soon realised it had nothing to do. The reason we brought him over was for a coaching role. You know, that's a completely different thing.
So what if Nat Fife took a coaching role on?
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus
Yes.
Christ, get over Fife.
I think
don't
that's
like
much
him.
worse.
I don't want him.
That's much
No.
worse. You gave up
So
a spot on your list for
So
a
you won't
coach.
take
No,
7
but
years
it
of
was very
Fife
smart.
Martin's
No.
peak and then offer him a coaching gig?
No, it was
That's
very
more or less the
smart.
same.
Mitchell had to play for that year to get to know the players, get to know how they work on ground, get an insight into it, and have a look. Have a look this year. Have a look at how different we are. We're hard. We're fast. We tackle. We're confident. We're fucking disciplined. You know, you can't fault bringing Sam over for coaching, you know. But if he was brought over and he was signed up for 5 years and we won a premier, well, it just wouldn't be the same. Sorry, it wouldn't be the same. To me, it wouldn't be the same.
I'm betting Hawthorn supporters are pretty happy, even though their team was filled with mercenaries.
I can't wait
I'm
until
sure
Their
St
whole
Kilda.
back line was filled with players from other clubs.
I can't wait till St Kilda put Roosie on their list.
Daniel Chick, fucking... What did he do? He was a Hawthorn player before you took
He came
him.
from Hawthorn.
Mm.
Yeah, but you can't call him a fucking superstar mercenary that came
was.
over.
He smothered the ball that got you the winning goal.
Yeah, with 9 fingers he covered that ball.
Yes, but he
This is
didn't
the
come
cup up with
over.
4 fingers.
He didn't come over for $1.5 million a team, and the whole a year.
That's about
And
money.
the whole team didn't revolve around Chick.
I believe part of the team revolved around Chick.
I know. I fight with people about this all the time. You wouldn't take Fife. You wouldn't take no, I wouldn't. I don't want. Doesn't interest me. I love the team we've got. I love that we've developed it. Yes, we take players from other teams, but they're not big name. You know, we take little players and we turn them into great players. There's a lot of satisfaction in that.
That's a very community-based thinking for a club with $40 million in the bank, 60,000 members and another 10 on the waiting list.
I know. But
Don't you want to be a big
That is
club
fair.
that wins premierships, exists to win premierships?
Oh, I've seen 3 premierships in my lifetime. I'm pretty happy. We're good. We're all right. We don't stay down very long. And when we go up fast, and we'll be all
Go
right.
up faster with a mercenary or two.
I don't know. All right, what mercenaries have the Eagles taken that have won us premierships?
Daniel Chick.
He was was a fucking nobody when we got him over.
No, he was faster than Kathy Freeman.
Well, you took Chris Judd away from Victoria.
When he was a kid.
Also, that's okay. You can still kids from their homes.
We actually stole
They
him
came
from
in,
his mum.
they blindfolded him, and they took him.
Yeah, we stole him from his mum. No, completely
Bloody
different thing.
wasp.
I'm not talking about drafting, and I'm talking about. You're not getting it. Don't worry about it.
No, we're struggling with the rationale.
I think we should move on. I think we've reached the impasse on this one.
Yeah.
Hawthorn got rolled by Brisbane in the Luke Hodge Cup, so Hodgie gets the sweet, sweet revenge.
First and foremost, I want an apology from all of you that laughed when I tipped Brisbane last week.
I knew this would come up.
Sorry, Dan.
Dan was right.
And scoffed and giggled at me and thought I wasn't being serious. I was.
You also
being
tipped the
serious.
dogs.
Yeah. So the one that you picked up here, you still lost. So you only broke even.
Hey, the Bulldogs and the Crows was a 50-50 game. The Lions and
No,
the
it
Hawks.
wasn't.
Yes, it was.
You either get the tip right or you get it wrong, man.
You know what I mean by a 50-50 game. This one clearly wasn't. I tipped the Brisbane Lions and they won. Kudos to me.
Yeah, we acknowledge that, but we also acknowledge the one you got wrong. So
Yeah, you acknowledged it with laughs and giggles.
Sorry for being happy.
yes, sorry, Dan, that we laughed at you last week when one of your
Yeah, you should be
speculative
apologising.
picks did come off.
We are apologising. How much more do you want? A kid? Fuck.
This is just like last year when I said I was wrong, blah blah blah, Hardwick, etc., and Dan wouldn't let it
No,
go.
you just
There's
jump
nothing.
on the wagon after the
There's
grand
no
final.
final word with Dan.
There's not enough that you can give Dan. Like, he just wants more from you.
I
Sorry.
didn't watch this game. How bad were Hawthorn?
Brisbane were better than Hawthorn were bad.
Yeah, like this is we've been saying this for weeks. It was going to happen for Brisbane, and it did in the most emphatic way. This time they weren't hanging with a team; they actually got in front and they pushed ahead, and then they just skied as the game wore on. And they've been threatening to do this.
Yeah. From early on, they could smell blood in the water, and they did not relent.
Were they well coached? Did it look good game plan and all that? Yeah.
Yeah, they utilised their strengths.
Commentators have been talking them up, their development up all season as well. They've been saying that they're getting there. They're being coached really well. They've got
Their list isn't in terrible shape anymore.
They've got a really good spine that'll develop over time.
A good core and a very local one too, which helps. Like the players, the senior players, the experienced ones, the good ones. A lot of them aren't going to leave. They've got a core that aren't fucking off anywhere. And so now maybe they'll keep the Rainers
Well, it's
and the
good that
McCluggages.
they've got local players because you wouldn't want mercenaries or superstars.
Fucking Jesus.
Oh, you're never going to let that go.
No, but you're right, Dan. See
No,
what happens
shut up,
when
you two.
develop your own?
Don't
Yep.
say that.
Shut up. They were good. There's not much else to say.
They were good, and they deserved their win. And for all the supporters, however many it was that turned up, they deserved that win. Because there's no way those supporters turned up thinking they were going to get a win this week. So they all bloody deserve it.
And when you said they smelt blood in the water, that was very much like Hawthorn were all over them in the first quarter and they just stayed in touch. They hung in there and from then on they dominated. So, they're going to catch more teams off guard than that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like they play an exciting brand. 2 weeks in a row they've topped 100.
What I did find very amusing was that RU decided he would put a bet on after the Collingwood game that Brisbane wouldn't win a game for the rest of the year. And he told me he was going to do it, and I was like, don't do that. Don't do that. That's stupid. You'll lose your money. I'm like,
You'll
will
lose
get
your
a win.
flower money. Don't do it.
You'll get a win soon, and it took 2 weeks.
You'll lose your flower monies. So have the wheels fallen off Hawthorn? Are they playing finals this year?
I don't think so.
I don't know about the rest of you. I think they're still close enough. There's enough teams falling over that Hawthorn's fate is still in their hands.
But yeah, there's a whole lot of teams that are going to be vying for that 7th, 8th spot.
Like Richmond.
Oh, fucking, you're an idiot. Dead set.
Like fucking North Melbourne. Would you start losing already? Go away.
Speaking of North, we'll go to that. North and the Giants. And speaking of teams that the wheels are falling off, they're falling off
Can you
badly.
say it properly, please?
Say it with a bit of gusto and a bit of loudness.
Who did North play?
Oh, the
Who do we
Giants.
play, Starburns?
Sorry, the Giants.
There we go.
And the Giants, the wheels are falling off in a giant way. They're losing touch, and it's going to be a long road back, even when the injuries fall in. Like, if they lose to Essendon this week, you could say season over. I don't think they will, but you never know.
Like, when does the pressure start coming on Leon Cameron?
Well, if they had any supporters to care, the pressure would already be on.
Yeah, no one really gives a shit. Like,
Gillen cares.
Channel 7 and Foxtel care.
Well, the AFL would care for their $200 million investment.
Yeah, they do have some injuries, though.
Well, they have a lot of injuries, but at the same time, you would think they would be...
They have more first-round picks than any other side. They should harbour their injuries.
You would think they would be playing better football, more competitive football than they're currently playing. Like they've got injuries, yet John Patton's still in the twos.
That's true. But when you look at their list, they don't have Phil Davis in the team, who's a good player. Delidio, Green, Kelly, Scully, Zach Williams.
Those are big injuries, but at the same time, they didn't have Delidio for most of last year.
There's another fucking mercenary that didn't work. Scully. Another big fucking mercenary that didn't work. Well,
didn't work for Melbourne either.
Yeah, exactly. It worked even less for GWS. How much did they pay him?
I wouldn't put Scully in the Fife Martin category of starter.
He was potentially talked up to be like a Fife in the Martin.
Do we need to go down this road?
I think we do.
No, I don't. I really don't.
Let's go back. I think we really do.
Dan's right in that he's not the same as those other players.
No, of course he's not.
Thank you for agreeing with me about that.
He's not a difference maker, and he's not going to an established team. It's a different scenario. GWS had to bring someone in. Can't all be draft picks. Anyway, they do have injuries, but you'd have to be concerned.
North play well at that venue, and they have the best full forward in the competition at the moment.
Yeah, North play really well at the Northrus.
The Northrus. Northstone.
Yeah,
Northstone Arena.
In the third quarter, he kicked 5 goals.
It is an interesting novelty down at that ground. The thing I like about it is just how it's like a throwback to the old days where you'd get like the fucking wind tunnel, because it's just all to that end to the right of broadcast screen. Like, I reckon 3 of the last 4 games played there, it's just fucking barreled down there. And it's like you're playing quarter by quarter. And North are very, very used to that by now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, it's the sort of conditions that I'm glad we're not playing in, because Cochin might kick against it. Yeah, because
there's a wind.
Yeah, Cochin might kick against it.
No. North are good. Ben Brown will win the Coleman.
No, Jack Darwin's coming like a train.
Don't say it yet. You've just jinxed him.
North are sneaky chance for a flag. If things go their way, I reckon they could win.
Please. No, you don't need to suck up to me. It's all right.
It's about Dan. It's all about you, isn't it, Dan?
And secondly, that's just Cookson. I like you, but that's just a silly, irrational statement.
North needed a mercenary like Dusty if they wanted to win the flag.
This is how St Kilda people get. You win a couple of games and you're all right for a flag. They're not going to win a flag.
Jed Anderson is going to lead us to the Holy Land of Premiership success.
Hey, you're winning games. That's all you can do. And Brad Scott, you can say a lot about him, but he knows how to get the most out of a list.
Can we confirm that Brad Scott was right that Jared Waite best was ahead of him?
Oh, God.
Because Jared Waite has been fucking fantastic this year.
It's absurd. It really is.
He's been very good.
He hasn't even been injured, which is
he's been fantastic.
Most surprising part.
What does that have to do with anything? His form's been good. Give him credit where it's due.
Normally, he's missing a few games by now.
Well, he's probably due for an injury or a suspension, but right now, as it stands...
Yes, Kilda's saying that about Nathan Freeman.
It's good. Who gives a fuck about Nathan Freeman? Nathan Freeman compared to Jared Waite, come on.
Both of them, their best football's ahead of them.
No, Jared Waite's got better football ahead of him.
Nathan Freeman is a nobody who hasn't proven shit. Jared Waite
hasn't played a game.
Still hoping.
If we're doing the post office comparison, Jared Waite is the mailman.
The mailman.
Delivery man. Freeman hasn't even posted a mail in a letterbox.
Freeman's too busy licking his hand rather than the stamp.
I talk positively about North, and you should insult Nathan Freeman, Dan.
Oh.
Well, I don't even know who Nathan Freeman is, because I've never seen him play. I've seen Jared Waite play for for 10 plus years. It's not my fault. Starburns is making a silly comparison, so blame him.
See, they yell at each other and then they blame you.
Yeah, blame the dwarf.
Blame the munchkin.
Games that don't matter too much. Collingwood beat St Kilda in much the same way we'd expect this game to have gone. Membry missed a few. St Kilda were sort of competitive but not there, and Collingwood were sort of impressive.
There was a punch on amongst the supporters. I saw the video of that.
Yeah, over the 2010 grand final.
Is that what it was? What were they? Was it trolling?
I don't know. That's all I seen. The punch on occurred because of comments made about the 2010 grand final. Good to see it still burns. We did what we had to do. We got the win. Geordie was great. We got another injury, which is unfortunate, but whatever. We get the 4 point for Solo.
Brownie was
For
injured.
Solo.
That's shattering. Also, can I say, David Armitage, you've had one good season, so please fuck off and start sucking cock somewhere else.
Oh, bit harsh.
Armitage, go join Nick Revolt.
I'm not convinced on that, by the way. Just
Maybe he could go to Richmond so they could have a different Armitage to read.
He nearly did.
Yeah.
Why would you be interested in Armitage?
Because they're grilled.
This was pre-Prestia, Dan. Hey, Prestia was sort of a mercenary. We won a flag.
Dan, they're cooked now, so he might go and get Armitage.
Does Prestia count as a merc?
Yeah, him and Nankervis. Yeah, why not?
Caddy, mercenary.
Oh, he's mercenary.
I mean, we made Pendles look good, which was not a good thing.
He's been playing
That's
good
just a
football
lot.
this year.
Yeah. It's still Scott Pendlebury, though. You just stick
Dishing
a man on
off
him
really
and
good
move forward
handballs
and
and
go for the best.
tap-ons and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Get old
There
people
was
excited.
elite handball at one stage. Cookie, did you see the elite handball by him?
Oh, I did. It was just beautiful handball. Best
It was
handball I've seen.
sublime.
Basketball vision.
Sublime, yeah. Oh, just the way he can stop time and wank, 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 wank.
LeBron would be jealous of that vision.
Oh, I was watching the replay this morning because I haven't watched it properly because wedding. So I was watching the replay and they're talking about Scott Pendlebury and like Richo was just like gooing and I fast forward. I cannot listen to that shit. It's bad enough having to listen to my mother. Did you see his handball again? Shut up, bitch.
Very nice.
No, it's not nice of her to ring me and say that stuff.
She's a Yanny, isn't she?
Yeah, she's a Yanny. She's fucked.
Well, there you go.
Oh, well, yeah, well, she can get What's the other game that didn't matter?
Right, there's a few more. Port in China has never mattered, ever.
Oh, never, ever, ever mattered. The so-called sellout where there were, like, there's like 50 people at that game.
There's a sellout with, like, there's more seats empty than there are full.
Did not watch I sort of saw it and just saw the empty stadium, but didn't watch the game.
Yes, but it was a raging success, apparently. Like, fucking...
Yeah, well, they said it was going to have the biggest audience in the history of AFL. 10 million people or something.
Oh, man. There's that much people in forced labour camps in China and North Korea?
That's what they said. 10 million people were going to watch that game.
Wank, wank, wank.
The most watched game in the history of the AFL.
There are times when they take us for fools so badly.
Yeah, they do. I reckon 10 million people might have switched off about 10 minutes in and will never switch it on again.
Or they threw the TVs out the window.
I've got to say, I
Or
did
they all-
not see
They
a
all
single
took their
minute.
samurai swords off the wall and
The Japanese are racist.
Oh, sorry.
Committed hurry on their television sets.
No, Dan, Jackie Chan showed up and kicked off. That's what you need to know.
Anyway, it looked like shit, so I didn't watch it.
And then, pretty crappy game. Nothing really of note out of it. Let it die. Let's pretend it doesn't happen.
They're sending St Kilda over next year, aren't they?
Why?
Yeah, why?
Because they're poor, Dan. You should know this. You're the one who points it out every time they try and spend money, but they don't have any. Now they're trying to make some.
Yeah, but why are you resorting to having to make your players get on a plane for 9 hours and play in another country?
We need that commie money.
Pay Roosie.
He ain't got to pay himself.
The Roos China Fund. Let's move on. The Dogs broke a record this week. 2 goals for the game. It's like their lowest in fucking
shit performance,
ages.
Dogs. You guys suck. You're not even
Yeah.
going to play final.
Who would have tipped
Your
that?
premiership was a fluke, just like Richmond's.
You idiot, Dan. See, I knew it was going to happen, but you're going to bring Richmond up again later at some point.
Oh, well, fancy that, bringing up Richmond in a fucking footy podcast. Have I ever tried to censor you from talking about North Melbourne, whether it be good or bad?
I don't really talk about North that much, Dan.
No, but you're missing the point. I mean, why
Literally,
are you
there is worse
This
censorship on this
China or
podcast than
something?
in China.
Yeah, there's people in North Korea that have more freedom of speech when they do their podcast than I do.
Yeah, the dogs were bad. Anything out of this?
Nah,
No.
just the lady. Just the lady.
Two goals is not good enough.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah, Eddie notched 100 games at the Crows, so now Carlton miss. That's worked out well for Carlton. They won't get any of his kids. Anyway, next game, Cole is skied over Freo.
Oh my god.
Oh, next.
Nah, I want to talk about Buddy.
No, I don't want to talk
Back
about
from
Buddy.
quad strikes, as was Hannah's. Am I alone in this, or did
Yes,
he?
you are alone.
No, shut
Very,
up.
very alone.
Shut
The little man who's always alone.
You don't even know what I'm about to say. Am I alone in this, in that the hysteria about Buddy's handling contact, am I alone in thinking that this is ridiculous, that people are actually annoyed and upset by this? Or is it reasonable? to
Yep,
think
you're
that-
alone. You are alone.
Shut
What
up,
was
you.
the controversy?
Well, Buddy had the ball, charged through, got Hamling high with ball in hand, trying to break the tackle. Hamling got concussed and everyone got sulky that Buddy got off at the MRO.
He had the ball. I mean, accidents happen. Just let it go. No need to get shitty over a player trying to force a play and accidentally knock someone out.
I think what people are shitty about is just the inconsistency of the tribunal.
If you're going to
as a
take someone
whole.
out, go full pelt. Don't go half-hearted and get suspended. Just go the Ryan Burton or the Franklin approach if you're going to take someone
But Franklin
out.
didn't do anything wrong. It's literally, he's got the ball, the guy tries to tackle him, he shakes him off and gets high contact. It's not a suspendable offence. It's like he's got the ball in his hand.
But even if you have the ball or not, if you're choosing to engage in a bump,
It wasn't a
contact
bump.
with another player.
It's like,
Then
what's he
you're
meant to do? Let the
you're-
cunt tackle him
you're
and get hold of the ball.
Favourite A word of this podcast, accountable. Although my favourite A word is arsehole to describe you people. But
I'm pretty sure the favourite A word might be autistic.
shit.
I guess I am alone in this then.
Yeah, you are one. I haven't seen.
I was waiting for Morgs and Cookie's opinions, but
No,
Well,
I
you-
thought it was ridiculous. I think it was just, yeah.
It's
Surely
not
we've
what
established the fact that just because someone gets concussed, that doesn't mean that
oh,
there's an issue.
yeah. Just because someone's been concussed doesn't mean it's a bad action, nor does it mean it needs to be worthy of a suspension. It's just fucking absurd.
No.
We're getting to legitimate acts. The Nat Nui tackle and that one just...
I'm looking at a photo of it now, and it looks like he's tried to secretly fling out an elbow as he's holding the ball. But he sort of knew what he was doing, but he thinks he can get away with it because he's the one with the ball, and he's not accountable for anybody else's contact. I've seen Barry Hall do it when he's got the ball. When he used to play, he used to fling out.
Barry Hall, like, full-on put elbows into people's faces, which was a free kick.
Yeah, but when he's got the ball, he would do. I see him do. He used to do that. It's like it's an act of doing something you think you can get away with, but it looks accidental. If that makes sense. Like, oh, me, you can't blame me. I'm the one with the ball. You can't. Surely you're not pointing the finger at me. It's kind of like when you go for a mark and you deliberately stick your knee into the back of someone's head, or you're going to
Totally legal.
boil a ball and you stick your knee into someone's thigh and end up getting it cooked.
Totally legal.
You've ma-
Like what Proust did.
yeah.
Nothing else out of that game?
Yeah, you are alone, I think, on this. So that's
I
unfortunate.
think I was in the majority, it turned out. It was just you and
I think
Wooshette
you
on
got-
the
I
same
think you
side
got-
for once.
You got crickets. No one really shared your opinion. So, but that's okay. That's all right. Maybe
The only thing I got out of that game was somebody on the Freo board saying that once Tabner and Ben will come into the team, that their premiership window is open from 2019 to 2022 until Fife and Walters and etc. retire.
No, but Fife's going to West Coast.
No,
it
we
could
can't
happen.
afford him. We're
Yes,
just a
you-
poor little club. We can't afford him.
Just do it. Do it.
Let's go to Melbourne and Carlton. Carlton brought crashing back to earth in the worst way possible.
You are shit. I don't care if you won last week and you looked good. You guys are shit. Really shit.
Yeah, like if you're getting beaten by 100 points by Melbourne.
Yeah. It's Melbourne that were the team that were getting beaten by 100 points like a couple of years ago. You're shit, Carlton. Terrible.
Talking points time. Let's begin with, we sort of got a mention, but I think last week, but it's been confirmed, I think, this week, that Mo Hope is going to North. Dan.
Oh, that could have been my tears.
Via Survivor. So she's not only going to play for North, but she's going to go on Survivor too. Dan. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being Sue stimming or Teffy melting, what are your feelings on that combination?
12.
Off the scale?
It undoes the good work this club has done in getting Emma Carney. Who's the
You don't even know who the rest are.
No, I know the Ruffman from Collingwood that we got. What's her name again?
Emma King.
Yeah, she's good. I like her. She's good. I'm not too sure on Elroy Jetson from Collingwood, the little dwarf with blonde hair that we got.
Duffin.
Yeah, Duffin, Elroy Jetson, whatever. Who else did we get?
One of the only ones who got a lesbian.
Yeah, that's great.
If you get a cricket team, she can play that too.
Cool. So, yeah, we got some good players, and just adding no hope to that is just...
So, Dan, you don't have a lot of hope?
Yes, it was very good, Cookson. Well done.
You don't need this mercenary?
No, we do not need this mercenary, and...
You'd rather get Nat Fife in?
Once he has his sex change?
Nat Fife into the... I don't say sex change, because you just know North are going to give Hannah Mancy the fucking lifeline, and I really... As much as
that would be glorious.
Hope,
of all the places for Mouncy to land North.
Well, it could happen, so I really, really do not want this to happen.
Dan, St Kilda are pushing to LGBT game and all that thing. It could happen to St Kilda.
Well, let's hope so. You can take the sacrificial hit, because your club needs all the attention and money it needs. So she can go to St Kilda. She doesn't need to go to North. Oh, I'm saying she. Why am I saying she?
No, you've been programmed.
Yeah, I know. Well, society has. That's a sad thing. So yeah, Mo Hope is now a North Melbourne listed player now, which is
good for her.
Well, yeah, it's good for her, but it's not good for me because I'm not for having her in the team. She's as useless as a doorknob. Really, I mean,
doorknobs open doors.
Well, okay, a bag of doorknobs.
Are you paying her out of your men's cap?
I don't know how the AFL women's salary cap works.
Maybe you could pay her out of your men's because you've got to pay somebody.
No, we're going to go after the GOE, the mercenary.
The mercenary fund.
And we're going to go and get Gaff, apparently, which I'm totally against. I don't want that stat merchant that just picks up stats on the wing. Most overrated midfielder West Coast has ever had. Sorry, Wooshette, but it's true.
No, you're right. Hey, I'm not sensitive about my club, mate. You go for it.
What about Pritis as most overrated?
No, he's not a stat merchant, though. He's just a contested, limited midfielder that cheated the Brownlow.
Legitimate Brownlow?
No, it's not. There's nothing legitimate about him winning it that year. Come on. That's silly. I forgot what I'm talking about. What are we even talking about?
Paying Mo Hope in your men's salary cap.
I mean, who knows? She might turn it around, and there might not be nothing to turn around because she's just a suburban footballer that has been found out at the real competition. So I don't know. Hopefully, the other girls can carry her.
They can't carry her. You've got half of our team, and they couldn't carry her before. So why will it be different now?
That's true. Oh, I guess it's wishful thinking, I suppose.
They got Hannah Mouncy to pick up the slack, carry the load on her broad shoulders.
No.
Shoulder that burden.
No.
On those big men.
No. AFL, if you're listening, I highly doubt that you do.
You're not listening.
Are you there, AFL?
Are you there? Please, God, don't allow this.
Please, God.
this creation, this
Abomination.
I think
What
abomination is the
monster
word you're looking for.
of an individual to compete in the women's competition. Well, actually, no, that's wrong. She can compete as long as it's not at North Melbourne, please.
Oh, look at you softening your stance.
Yeah, look at you, not in my backyard. You're so selfish, Dan.
Well, I don't want the mockery and the and the embarrassment associated with my club. It can be with Collingwood or St Kilda or anybody else, just not mine.
St Kilda don't have a team.
I thought they're bringing one in next year.
Yeah, but Mountie's playing this year.
She's playing VFL.
No, but St Kilda won't be until the year after North, so Mountie's going to be somewhere in the meantime.
Oh, shit. And it's probably likely that she'll stay local too, so that means North,
You're Tassie,
Collingwood,
good for you.
Bulldogs, and Carlton. Go to Carlton.
I hope Mountie goes to Fremantle, crosses paths with Ross Lyon. That could be amusing.
Oh, so hang on. So if he dismisses her, right, or him,
Nice
completely,
budding balls you've got there.
If he ignores her and doesn't say anything to her, is that discrimination on his part?
Well, he's not her coach.
Yeah,
No,
but
I think he means if he doesn't crack onto her, is that discrimination?
Right. Well, Bomber Thompson
It's
certainly
absolutely
didn't
not.
discriminate.
In today's society, it could be.
Listen, Ross Lyon is probably a fan of titties
We
and
know that.
tartars
Probably.
and whatever. And some St Kilda players got up to quite a bit of homoerotic shenanigans under him, so
Saints footy.
we don't know how Ross Lyon swings his bat.
No, but what we do know is that he's into budding boobs, and Hannah, having recently transitioned, would have budding boobs.
A budding bosom.
It's Frankenstein with tits, I tell you.
Jesus. On that note, let's move on to the last of the talking
It's alive.
James
It's
Hurd's
alive.
house
It's
got robbed.
alive. Wasn't me though, sorry.
They stole all his chocolate there.
Oh no, they stole his chocolate.
All the machines he uses to make them.
Oh no, those are assholes. No, but they stole his car, didn't they?
Yeah, which I always thought he rode a bike.
I would have thought he had some fucking security at his house. Did you see a picture of his house? Anybody can just walk up and climb through a window there.
He might have left the window open or something. I mean, that's all it takes, really, doesn't it?
I don't know, I'm not a cat burglar.
Don't know, whatever it takes to get in.
It looked like a pretty easy house to break into when they showed the photo. Like, it's pretty close to the street. The windows, I don't know, like you would think there'd be security and alarm systems and all that sort of stuff. But apparently the guy just opened the window and climbed right in.
They all slept through it. I mean, that's...
Oh, man. Look, on a serious note, I've been robbed and it's the worst feeling in the world knowing someone's coming. Lucky I didn't have kids home or anything. But to have your kids in the house and somebody come, oh my God. I know it's James Hurd and all, but it's fucking shit.
I love how that's the caveat. I know it's James Hurd, but...
Yeah, I know it's James Hurd.
I know it's James Hurd, and he kind of
It couldn't happen to a nicer person, but if he was home on his own, I wouldn't give a shit. But yeah, your wife and kids are asleep in the house. I was just surprised at how easy they did it, you know. Don't know. Probably Bosk looking for files or paperwork that hasn't been shredded or something. Who knows? Ben Cousins looking for drugs.
Homer Thompson looking for drugs.
Robert Thompson delivering drugs.
Don't knock at the door, just break on in.
Strange story, anyway.
Let's go to the questions.
Oh, yes, I love the question.
The first one comes from Zaka. Who is the bigger fuckwit, Sicily, Jed Lamb, or lethality?
Oh, Brendan Goddard.
Lethality.
Yeah, we'll just go with lethality. Geez, I wonder if we brought him on and you guys get stuck into him.
I think we'd be too scared to get him started. If we can't, if we struggle to get you stopped, we'd never get him stopped.
You absolutely would. You would be too scared because you actually would be hitting a sore point with that individual. Whereas for me, it's just.
Everything's about
anyway,
you, Dan.
Everything's being about me.
You're very brave, Dan.
I know. Thank you.
So brave.
Thank you. I am the podcast mercenary that needs to be here to take this podcast in the direction it needs to go.
You are.
The podcast Merherp.
Starburns.
Final question. Gornage wants to know, who is the one player you've seen play senior footy this year who you didn't realise was still on an AFL list?
Fucking darling.
Trent Cotchin.
Mine was this week watching fucking Tim Moore play. I did not know that guy was still getting around.
I didn't know Mundy was still playing.
What?
I didn't know Mundy was still playing.
Would you have him at West Coast?
Oh,
Does Reece Conker still play for Richmond, Starburns?
Yes, he's played every game this year.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Oh, God. How the hell does he blend in?
Yeah, I don't know. He's got red hair. How'd you miss him?
Yeah, true. How did I miss that Indigenous talent? Well, okay. Listen, that guy will only be remembered for putting his elbow into Dylan Smith's head. I mean, that guy is a hack. All
Dylan
Richmond
Smith.
jokes aside, he's
Who's Dylan Smith?
Don't you mean Dylan Shield?
They mean Devon
No,
Smith.
Who? Oh, Devon Smith. Sorry. Oh, damn it.
This week on the Bay, what do we got? I thought it was a slow week, but
Ugh.
It was a slow week.
It was considering some of the results in this week. No, all the Hawthorn supporters have disappeared, all the Geelong supporters have disappeared.
I feel like we really need an injection of new posters on the Bay.
We need to bring in some Bay mercenaries.
We need
Yes.
more on the
With
floor.
Bay mercenaries from other boards. We need to go out recruiting some mercenaries for the Bay.
Dude, where's my car from Dapper Young? That was a good friend.
Okay, there we go.
All right, who's flog of the week?
Don't you fucking dare.
Well, just for that.
I reckon Cookie for bullying Dan.
I was going to go with Rex Kolnikov.
Oh, yes, go.
Yeah, for calling Lunatic a homophobe.
Because he likes rap music.
And for refusing to listen to a song in the song contest because the comments were homophobic.
On a YouTube video was homophobic.
But if you've got time to read the comments, you've got time to listen to the song. Then for going and requesting that your account be deleted.
I have a quick question. Is Paganism Mark II the real paganism from a few years ago?
Don't know.
Well, if it is, then you need to bugger off and disappear again. You voyeur-looking, weird, creepy motherfucker.
Isn't he the guy? Isn't he the guy that watched his mate screw the woman from out in the
And
bushes?
bragged about it.
Yeah, and then bragged about it on Big
bragged-
Footy on Cup Day or something.
He's a weird individual and needs to disappear.
Who does he
So
support?
So you
North.
can add that to the other I don't on this forum.
Look, here I am, shocked to be sitting here that Dan's hating another North supporter.
I've got a flog of the week. Packed lunch. Hasn't been seen yet. This is his last post. This is not going quite as hoped for. It hasn't been seen since.
He's like the reverse pop-up sprinkler.
He is. When was the last time you haven't seen him show up after a game? With his big thing, weatherman dick and whatever.
Oh, I don't know.
So here's my flog.
I'm leaning towards that, yes. Especially for the weatherman dick comment.
Yep.
I love packed lunch, but letting the team down.
He's letting the team down. They all have this week. Big time.
He's been a mercenary. We need a club legend.
Anything more than 24 hours, and that's really not good.
No, not after a loss like
No,
that.
even if you know you're not going to be around, you got to drop a conciliatory post where you front up and take your medicine.
Yep.
I was going to give an honourable mention to the whole Hawthorn board, because in their game day thread, one guy's like, if we win by 70 points, I'll give everybody who posts in this thread a slab. And so then 100 people posted and yeah, we're getting a slab, we're getting a slab. You're not getting a slab, guys.
Did they even score 70 points?
No. The smugness in there was hilarious.
I just want to go back to thread of the week. Honourable mention to, not for the content of the thread, but the Clementine Ford thread on the GD board, purely for the dick measuring contest between Plugger and Silent Alarm as to who is the sadder alcoholic. It's basically the gist of it is, I drink so much alcohol alone. No, I drink so much more alcohol alone than you.
If there was ever anyone I didn't want to get into a dick measuring contest with, it's Silent Alarm. Like, I don't want to be competing with that cunt in anything.
But yeah, no, I think packed lunch wins. Although, or do we want to give it to all the Horfies?
All the Horfies. He's
All
the
the
leader.
Horfies.
Every last
Packed
one
lunch
of them.
and everyone in that thread who thought they were getting a fucking slab.
Yep, they all get a turkey slap.
Last week's poll, what came first? 12.5% said the egg, 25% said the hawk, and 62.5% said Jack Watts at number one in the 2008 draft. Tipping time.
Dan?
Oh, so it's like my turn every week now. Is that how it rolls?
It's just your turn this week.
Oh, sure it is. Because I clearly remember doing it last week.
We got to the end of the order, and it was your turn. Now we're going back in reverse.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I trust your tips, Dan. I do trust your tips.
Well, given that you picked Brisbane, you're the only proven tipster.
I gave you Brisbane last week, and you scoffed at me.
I wasn't on last week, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know. I'm not pointing. No, you're a good guy, Cook. So I'm not pointing. This is more directed at Morgan and Starburns, who
and the
laughed.
midget and the suburban footballer.
Netballer.
I said netballer.
Netball.
Yeah.
Not good enough to be a suburban footballer.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
Collingwood versus the Dogs, Dan. Are you holding faith with the Dogs?
Yes. I think they will kick more than 2 goals this weekend.
Do you think they'll win, though?
I think so. Yeah, I think they will. I think they'll win. I don't know why. I just got a funny feeling. I think they'll win.
Bullshit.
What, are you too afraid to laugh and scoff at my prediction?
Well, if you get this one right, you'll just bring it up again next week. It's the concern.
I will. Of course I will. Absolutely I will. And why shouldn't I?
I'm laughing and scoffing.
Richmond, St Kilda. You've already told us who you're tipping here, Dan.
Yep, St Kilda will win by 70 points on Saturday.
Will you buy us all a slab?
Dan, if that happens, I'm buying you a fucking slab.
Nah, Dan's buying you a slab.
No, I'm buying you a slab. No, I love you more.
No. It's a bit like, Tim Membry's going to kick 5, and who's that one good player you have in midfield?
Just say Jack.
Say
Jack. It's probably a Jack.
Yeah, it's probably a Jack guy. How is St Kilda? Why am I tipping St Kilda, Cookson?
I
Because you said something
know.
stupid and you have to stand by it now.
You're insane. You're drunk. You're high.
Okay.
You're on acid. I don't know, Dan.
All right, I'm sticking with St Kilda, but they probably won't win by 70 points. Brisbane versus Sydney. Sydney will win that game. Cats versus Carlton. Geelong will bounce back.
Can we just stop on that for a second? I want to go back to something that was said in the intros that I don't think was said after the recording started. So, Morgs, you know what it is.
Of all the weeks for Carlton to play Geelong, Geelong are going to come out breathing fire and beat them by 100 points at the cheat ground.
Cheat ground, Geelong off a loss, Carlton off a pathetic one. Cookson, you had another thought on how big this margin could be.
Oh, big.
That's,
100 points minimum. I don't know.
you said 186.
Oh, potentially beating the 186. Potentially. It's a good chance.
The potential's playing.
I'm going to do a Dan and pick Carlton.
Well, Dan picked Carlton for the flag.
No,
Let's
I mean,
not forget that.
No.
Well, first and foremost, it's me that's doing the tipping. I was asked to do the tipping. And secondly, I went each way on Carlton for the spoon and for the flag. And so one of them looks like it's going to happen, and the other is just see you later. So that was a crap synopsis. Why did you pull me up on that?
No,
not referring to you, Wooshette. I'm referring to Starburns.
Okay.
What did I do?
I was going through the tips, and you told me to hold up because you wanted to go back on.
Yeah, because Morg said of all the weeks that Carlton end up going to play Geelong, it's a loss like that to Essendon. Like, it is pretty funny. They are going to get absolutely caned this week.
Yeah.
It's a statement game at the cheat ground. It's going to get ugly.
Do you want to do the tips? You asked me to do the tips for the second week in a row, You
It's
want
not a
them or
tip,
not?
it's a comment.
And
I don't
it's
want.
not the
Well, I
second
don't
week in a row. It's
I don't
the
want your
third
comments.
week in a row.
I don't want your comments during my tips.
You haven't got your
Sorry,
own
Dan.
segment, cunt. Get back in line.
Well, it pretty much is my own segment if I'm being asked to do it every week.
You are not the captain of this ship.
I'm sorry for bullying you, Dan. Carry on.
I didn't even accuse you of any. It's got nothing to do with it.
Dan can't handle Wooshette, and it's very amusing. How come you don't call her a bitch, Dan?
But there's no problem with Wooshette. There's nothing.
Oh, okay. Tell me more, Morgs.
Well,
No,
why
he calls me a bitch all the time.
That's because you are. Why are you apologising for?
I don't know. Funny,
Oh,
triggering your
funny
autism.
when you're trying to do your tips.
Because she dared to do a tip.
Don't apologise for that.
I don't know. I'm just sorry for him. I don't know.
Look how pathetic you are, Dan. She feels sorry for you.
I know. I feel sorry for him. I just felt like someone should apologise to you.
Well, if you're apologising, then I want an apology from everyone if you want me to continue the
Sorry,
tip.
go Griff.
I'm not sorry.
No, I want a proper apology.
I'm not sorry, so you're not getting one.
Well, I'm not finishing. I'm not doing the tips.
Dan, I'm sorry that you're offended.
I'm putting my foot down. Cookson, you have nothing to apologise, but you have to apologise.
I apologise, Dan. Get on with the tips.
I'm sorry, Dan, that your tips have been halted.
Morgan,
I'm not fucking sorry.
yes, you are.
She
Apologise.
said,
Apologise.
Morgs said
Kiss it.
sorry. You never mentioned it had to be an apology. So technicality, get with the fucking tips, Dan. Come on, we got to hustle.
Yeah, he got you there. Lawyered. Do the rest of the tips.
Giants, Hawks, Melbourne, and North.
All right, this was the vlogcast for round 10. Starburns joined by Cookson,
Goodbye, all.
Wooshette,
Bye-bye, Dan.
Morgs,
I'm not fucking sorry. Get stuff, Dan.
Sorry, not sorry.
and Dan.
I'm sorry I even turned up. I'm doing my own.
I'm not coming back next week. I'm not coming back. I'm going to hang up straight away.
Thanks for listening, and we will see all of you, including Dan, next week. Are you going to say goodbye this week, Dan? Oh, he's gone already.